Welcome to the Kinky Conversations podcast, where consent is king, pleasure is queen, and exploration of sexual expression is the name of the game. And now for your host, the delicious Zachary Phillips.
Today we're joined by Anita, a 24-year-old art and English student from the United States of America. Her hobbies include gaming and pole dancing. And on this episode, we talk about her experiences with submission, shibari, first times, pay pigs, different types of littles, red flags, hide and seek play, the dom voice, and funishment. I had an amazing time chatting with Anita. She's a bubbly, bright, and fun personality. I know you'll get a lot out of this one. Enjoy. Let's play this back from the start. It's the first time. The first time's going to be awkward. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
This is how the first time's going to be. We know the first time's awkward. I was like, I've got it set up. It's all good. And then I pressed record, and then it's jumped onto the other microphone. I'm like, Okay, so for those of us playing at home, this is our first time, my first time, and everyone's first time is a touch awkward. You know, you don't know where to put what. And we just had an amazing story that I was unfortunately recording through the wrong microphone. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. Anita, we're going to go with the awesome pseudonym. Pseudonym? My apologies. So
yeah.
Just to add to the experience, could you please retell the story? Although I've got the preview to it now, so I'm very excited to hear it again.
Oh, God. Okay.
Serious times.
So
tell me about this.
let me see if I can retell it better the second time.
Okay. Well, look, it'll be the first time to the people listening, so we can pretend like we've done this. It's like, yes, welcome to the podcast. Today,
we're experienced.
Today we're well, look, you'll be quite experienced after this story. Anyway, do retell, and we'll get back into the groove of it. My apologies.
That's totally fine. I'm thinking about it again.
Okay, so I'll lead you in. You were young. You were somewhat inexperienced, but you were enthusiastic.
This happened last year. This actually happened last year during quarantine. A lot of new things have been happening.
So
I'm very green.
Okay. Please do retell the story, because I am now that I've got more context on it, it's going to be even more hilarious. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I met my ex on Hinge, and this was last year, and we were talking, and our first date was at a hotel. He picked me up at my house. We took an Uber to the hotel, and we stayed there overnight, and we made out. He was my first kiss.
Ooh.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I never expected my body to do. I don't think anyone talks about these kinds of reactions, and I don't know who else has dealt with this. But,
this
like, for example, when we were so when we were making out, and, like, there was a lot of, like, touching going on and heavy petting and groping, my legs were shaking uncontrollably. And
like, how vigorous are we talking? How vigorous of a shake? Is it like just like a little, or like quite a big?
It was big, because
big shake.
It was like the first time doing anything like this, and I was so upset with myself, because I'm like, I really hate the fact that this is happening. This does not feel normal.
So we've set the scene. You've got it. So hang on, let's just, before we get to the story, because this is a great lead in. You caught up through the Hinged app, and the date was at the hotel.
Yes.
Did you do anything before the hotel, or was it like straight to the hotel?
We did something.
Okay.
We did some phone sex.
All right. Okay. Were your legs shaking on the phone sex?
Kinda, but not as bad as when I met him in person.
Understandable. That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. So is this the part where I
do share. This is because like now we didn't the first iteration. I didn't get the leg shaking. We didn't get the hinged app. We've got more depth now. I like it. So legs are shaking. You're in the hotel room. Go.
Yeah. So we were doing this for hours, mind you. And it felt kind of intense. So it was about, I'm guessing, between 3 or 5 in the morning, and the lights were off, and the making out got heavier and heavier, and that's when he asks me, would it be selfish of me to ask if you could give me a hand job? And I looked at him, and I was like, no, that's sure. I've never done it before. So I did. And not to brag or anything, it was sensational. And so
sensational. Was that the exact wording? Like, was it? Did he say that was sensational? How was the feedback
but
in the moment?
he came pretty hard, and
Ooh.
So I could tell.
No. Here's the question: did you get his legs shaking more than yours?
No, it's just my legs that were shaking. But he came, and he was out of breath and everything, and there was a bit of a. We were on different pages of. We were on different pages because he was reaching out for my hand, and he wanted to hold it, like have a nice bit of intimacy. But I saw his hand, and I gave him a high five instead.
Oh, I love it. That's the best. Did you tell me about just the immediate afterwards? Did you just sort of go with it, like, and just lean into the fact, like, yeah, I meant to give you the high five. That's exactly it. No? Did you make eye contact?
I didn't. I made eye contact with him in the dark. Yeah, he was laughing. Oh my god.
That's awesome.
So,
I love
it. And then he was able to, clean himself off and, go to sleep. So, success.
Was that the only high five experience you've given, or was there more high fives with this gentleman? Did that become a thing in the relationship? Like after every time you're like hand job, single high five, sex, double high five, like overhead, high 10 sort of situation?
No, I learned from that mistake, and instead we held hands.
That's far less exciting, I'd love to have a hand job and give the special friend with me a massive high five. Like, great job, yes. We should make that a thing. It's like just the etiquette after sex. It's like single thumbs up, double thumbs up, high five. It's like a rating system.
Or even like a hand hug, like where it's just like the hand hug with like the thumbs around,
What about like the knuckles when you're like, you put your hand and then you clasp it, like the awkward, you go to give someone a fist bump and it becomes like a hand over the knuckles and you're sort of awkwardly trying to work out if it's a high five or a knuckles?
Just like that scene in Spider-Man where he's like, go! Go!
The whole Spider-Man thing is a analogy to like puberty, I'm sure he's high-fived a few people in his day. Okay,
I can't unsee it now because of all the webbing.
No, exactly, right? He's out of control. He's shooting it everywhere. It's around his room in a big mess. He's just doing it involuntarily.
He doesn't want his Aunt May to see.
You don't want your Aunt May to see, not at all.
No.
Unless it's like the hot one from the new one. Like, she's like young and hot, flirting with what's his face, right?
Oh yeah, with
that dude, the older dude.
That one guy.
The guy that's like the Iron Man dude. That one. Good job, pop culture.
Yeah.
Tony Stark.
Exactly. We know his face. He was
Robert Downey Jr. That's the one. Good job.
I thought you were talking about his assistant, because his assistant was super attracted to Aunt May. He would try to flirt with her, and she's like, "No, I'm good, thanks." So she did like Robert Downey Jr. though.
Well, to be fair, it's Robert Downey Jr., so, you know, it's... Okay,
Yeah.
so...
He's pretty okay.
He's all right. You'd give him a high five or two, wouldn't you?
Well, no. There are other people in the Avengers movie that I would give a high five.
Okay, who's your first high five? Top of the list,
Ooh.
high five of the Avengers.
Let me see.
Could be villains or heroes.
Oh, okay. If we're going with Marvel, I'm gonna have to say villain-wise, Loki.
Well,
in
there
that,
was any
strictly...
doubt. There's any doubt between, like, he's the only hot/human villain, so, like, come on.
Okay, well...
Unless it's
to
like
be
Killmonger.
fair, well, okay, he was hot. That villain...
Killmonger is ribbed for your pleasure, too.
Killmonger is very hot. The only thing is that I got so invested in his character and Killmonger's character that I was just like, no, I'm not feeling that with no. But you know, I respect him. I get where he's coming from, and it's tragic.
So you're going for Loki, obviously.
Yeah.
Everyone is like, there's no, like, if you're going villains, heroes.
Yeah.
Who are you going
I'm not
for the
ashamed.
heroes? No, I'm not ashamed either. Heroes. Who are you high fiving?
Oh, Bucky.
Oh, Bucky. That's
Captain America, because that's America's ass right there. He's got some real pound cake. That is, if that was a cake, that would probably be red velvet.
Red velvet. I'm a fan of red velvet. Every time I go to a cafe, the barista goes to me. He's like, "Oh, red velvet." That's how he knows me. He's like, "Oh, that's that red velvet guy." They have these delicious things. Okay. Bucky, though, do you like the one arm? You want the machine arm sort of situation happening?
Yeah, he's I like his character development. That's one thing I like about him. But
you watch him for the plot, right?
I watch it for the plot, and by the plot, I mean I can't stop staring at his hand. I can't. I really need to high five that hand. Yeah, I don't care if it breaks mine.
Okay, so
because I have tiny hands.
Okay, I've got a few sort of base questions that I'm going to sort of like come back to. All right, so I'll say some of them, and we can come back to the high fiving superheroes if we like. All right?
Are we still gonna go back
to Okay, so
you're really stuck on the high five.
Hey, no, we're moving on. We're moving on. It's my awkward attempt at a segue. All right, okay. Gotta leave the door open. Who knows? Who knows where we're going to come back to? Anyway, okay, so. How about I read you a few of these questions? You can jump in on whatever interests you the most, or whatever like sort of pops in your mind. Yeah, we'll go a few. Yeah. What's your most memorable sexual experience? Have you ever fulfilled a true fantasy, and was it at all what you expected? What's your biggest letdown sexually? Who is or was your biggest influence in owning your kinks and sexuality? And how far or deep have you gone into the lifestyle? And how much further would you plan on going? So if any of those jump out at you that you want to sort of delve into, we can have a little bit of an explore.
What was the second question?
Second question. Have you ever fulfilled a true fantasy, and was it at all what you expected? Now, we're not doing video, but I can see your face. This is going to be good.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Let's do this.
Oh, okay. I'm actually sweating underneath my sweater, just thinking about it. I'm going to need a sip of my water. 1 second.
Look, I've got water too. You've got a Shrek glass, I can see. Would you?
Yes.
So just back to the high fives. Are you giving Shrek a high five?
No!
Shrek is not love, apparently. Okay.
No. Oh, God. I don't want to remember that video. I watched it in high school, and I was scarred for life.
Okay, so when that came out, I was a high school teacher. And one of the students came up to me. Yeah, one of the students came up to me, and they're like, "Oh, hey, sir, can I show you this video?" And this student was like some students are trustworthy and some students aren't trustworthy, and this one was. And I'm like, yeah, sure, like whatever, like, because they'll show me like topical related videos, and he shows me this, and then I think he checked in halfway to the fact of what he was showing, and the fact he was showing it to a teacher, and I'm sitting there and I just let it play the whole way through, and I'm like, hey, buddy, you want to rethink? Do you want to rethink what you're showing me right now? Like, and I was chill about it. I'm like, like, I'm not going to, like, get him in trouble or anything, but it was just, I'm like, Shrek is love. For those that aren't familiar with this, don't look up Shrek is love.
Oh,
no. Or do.
By telling them not to look it up, they're gonna look it up.
That's the point.
Zachary.
I know, right? Look, if I had to see it, everyone has to see it. Anyway.
You know what? Because you said that, I am this close to committing arson. There we go. I will commit arson. Do not influence these people.
All right, don't look it up. Naughty. Don't be like one of my quote unquote good students and show your teacher Shrek is love. Although now, if they'll be in university, so everyone's adult. It's a bit more acceptable. Anyway,
oh my god,
true fantasy.
Before you continue,
yes,
I'm so sorry. But because you said you were a high school teacher, that just reminded me, because I confessed something to my professor.
Oh no! Yes,
he was totally chill with it.
See, he was chill with it. He was chill with it externally, but did he have the face of just like, yes?
No, actually, no. He's surprisingly no. Like, and I think because he's a theater professor, and that says a lot. Because for someone his age, he looks fantastic, mind you. He's like in his 40s or early 40s, or just in his 40s. But he looks great. But you wouldn't think that someone like him has a lifetime of experience.
Did you know teachers
you would not
exist?
Think that.
Like, teachers exist and do things when the students aren't in front of them. It's shocking. I'll tell them about that, and they'll be like, "What? What do you mean you exist?
You have a life?"
I know. You see them. I would randomly accidentally see one outside of school, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What, in Safeway, like in the shops?" Like, I'm getting my groceries. I exist outside of school. What did you confess to this professor? And do share.
I don't know how it happened in the conversation, but I was talking with him via Zoom, and we were getting to know each other more. And it was I can't remember which class it was, but we were just discussing, and he was asking me about some stuff, like personal stuff, and it was part of the topic, but it was very indirect. And I told him, yeah, I mean, one day because of the economic situation, I might as well just get a pay pig. Who knows?
What? Hey, sorry, pay pig? What's a pay pig? I'm not sure if that's a...
Oh, I am so glad you asked. That's, a pay pig is basically...
Is it like a sugar daddy?
Type of
sugar daddy situation?
Yes, but it's the opposite. So it's a sub. Typically, it's a guy who likes to be degraded and who likes to give money to women, to like femdoms and a bunch of other stuff. So they want to be degraded or praised, but they love spending money on you. And I'm like,
ooh, yes, okay. I think I could go with a few pay pigs myself, eh? Where can I sign up a pay pig? It reminds me, I saw a documentary or something about a person who likes financial domination. So they're paying this femdom. They're paying her to dominate them financially. So it's like, here, have some money, and here's also my credit card details. Here's my family home. Like, I want you to be able to blackmail the shit out of me. And so it's like these high paying executives that give this person all of their details and pay her for the privilege to then threaten these people with financial obliteration / family obliteration. It's like a whole thing. I'm like, wow, it's so fascinating to me that this whole things exist. This is part of the reason of the podcast, is I want to sort of speak to people and sort of, have the discussion with them. So you don't you do want to pay pig, or you don't, or you just were thinking about it, or you're joking about it? Like, what's your level of you versus pay pig desire?
So it's kind of like the the meme where it's like, no, I'm just kidding. Unless
Yes. It's like,
I don't mind. I honestly, I do not mind. Now that I'm getting more and more into the whole BDSM scene, I definitely don't mind.
So,
And
would you prescribe? Would
yeah.
you self-identify as sort of femdom or switch, or
I'm not sure.
where are you roughly at? Because if you're looking for a pay pig, you at least have to have some dom aspects.
True. Because I mean, it makes me feel good to see that they're feeling good for giving me money. So
Look,
like
if anyone
socially,
wants,
I will say
to
this.
give either of us money, and it will make them feel good, I'll put like the Patreon link. You can give me money. I'll link them to your social. They can give you money. Anyone that wants to be giving us money to feel good, I'm more than open to that. And if you want me to tell you, I don't know, do they want to be degraded, or do they just want to be dominated? What's the go here? Because I'm familiar with the kink, but I've not heard of the term pay pig before. So please do enlighten. You are now the resident expert on pay pig.
It could be one or the other. It depends, of course, on like the person,
Of
because
course.
some could go for the extreme. Some is just like, here, just take this, do whatever you want, or like doing it over the phone, even doing it in person. So it all depends on the person. Socially, I'm more like, so it depends on the person. Socially, I'm more dominant, but sexually, I'm a sub. And I learned a lot of things about myself that I was not expecting, and that goes with the fantasy question that you were asking about.
Go on. However you want to take that. Continue, please.
So before I tell you, because you know this, but whoever's listening, they don't know this. I asked for the Dom's permission that I'm seeing, and he was more than excited. He was more than like consenting. He's like, "Yeah, go for it," especially if it's coming from a third person perspective. And I'm like, all right, good to know.
I always appreciate the just pausing for a second, the idea of getting consent and all of that sort of stuff. It's actually really good that you did and he did, and then it's all out and open, because like that's the whole, like that's one of the cornerstones of any sort of long term positive play, no matter where you land on the pay pig spectrum. You want to be able to have it all on board. So I'm super grateful. Hello, Mr. Dom Man. Man? Yes, man. Thank you for giving consent. Do please continue.
So I suppose I should start from the very beginning of how I met him. Should I start from there?
Whatever you think would be most interesting and relevant to the story. It's up to you.
Okay. I'll give a quick intro on that just so that we can quickly go to that. I asked one of my girlfriends at my dance studio at the pole dance studio that I go to, and I was like, "Hey, so and so, do you have any accounts that I can follow? Any recommendations in regards to kink or BDSM or Shibari, just anything?" And so she was like, "Oh, you can follow like accounts X, Y, and Z," and his account was Y, and I was like, okay. So I followed him, and that was, a few months ago, a few to several months ago, and we were following each other and stuff. And one day I, started talking to him and asking him questions, and it came to the point where we're like, yeah, let's meet up. And I'm like, okay, great. So I was super nervous because I have never been tied up in rope before, or just tied up in general. So
legs were shaking.
No, my legs are not shaking. Thank goodness. I took an Uber to his home. He was not there yet, even though he said, "Oh,
no,
I'm super close by." And then so I ended up being by myself on his front porch, and I was so annoyed. And it was 100-degree weather, mind you, it's Texas, and I was sweating, and I was so irritated because of the heat. And I'm like, I am this close to regretting coming here. And then I see his car pull up. We go in, and thank goodness for the AC. And so he was, very sweet, very polite. And he was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. It's really hot." He's like, "Do you want some water?" And I'm like, "No, no, thank you." He's like, "Do you want some toast?" And I'm like,
Do you want some toast?
um,
I
no,
love it.
because over DMs, he said, "So this is what's gonna happen, just so that you know ahead of time. You'll come in, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna talk, and then get ready for the scene. If there's anything that you're comfortable or not comfortable with, I'll offer you toast." And so I wasn't expecting him to actually offer me toast in person.
I like that.
Which,
I like that you got the like the lead in. It's like, this is what to expect. Where we're at, you've gotten some offers of nutrition as well. Like, it's good to like leave with a bit of carbs and calories after a big sesh. That's good. Yeah. do you get the toast fed to you whilst tied up, or is it like a pre or post toast?
it was a pre-toast.
Pre-toast. Do you get post toast?
It was yeah, he was more than willing to like feed me anything afterwards, and I was okay. I wasn't hungry, but uh I was a little hungry, I will admit. But he fed me salmon and some other foods with guac, and I'm like, "Okay, I really need to be careful here. I'm going into some dangerous territory," because the food was good. It's like that TikTok audio. I don't know if you
Maybe. Which one?
there's this TikTok audio, but it's like this guy, he says, "I'm about to eat this cupcake." He stops and he goes, "I'm about to fuck this cupcake."
So you were attracted by the profile, and more than kept by the salmon and toast.
Yes, but the salmon and toast, that was afterwards.
All right.
So this is going back to the pre-tying. We were talking. He was taking out all this rope, different types of rope,
Ooh.
and he was showing me like the differences. Yeah, I was like, oh, and I was genuinely interested because I knew that there was different types, but I had no idea that the due to the textures and due to the dyes, even that could have a different effect.
Oh, he's real deep in that scene. Hey, like that's real. Like,
oh yes,
yeah, because like I've looked at, how do you pronounce Shibari?
Shibari, yeah.
Shibari, the art, like some of like the artistic creations that they get, it's incredible. Like, if you're not familiar with it, look up Shibari. It is sexual, obviously, but it's also like the masters of this art form. It's sort of like they tie up the person, but they do it in such a way that's, just it creates artwork effectively. Would that be a sort of a right description of it?
Pretty much.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Sorry.
What's it like to become artwork?
I'm getting
is
all
I
the
suppose the better
flashbacks.
question.
Wait, what was the question? I'm sorry. My mind was
What is it? What
still at his house.
You became a piece of artwork effectively.
Oh, I most certainly did.
Oh, okay.
Whew.
So they're saying there's different types of rope, and it depends on the different sort of why are we choosing different rope styles? Is it for the feel? Is it for the look? Is it for the ability to tie the person down? Like, what are we talking here?
So it is all three, because you want to make sure that everything is secure, but that it's easier to tie up and that it's easy to cut. That if you're getting, I wasn't suspended, but if you're being suspended in the air, you want to be careful with what type of rope that you have for that. And
so just
from my understanding.
Sorry, for people that aren't familiar, you can actually, you tie up and then you will sort of put that onto some sort of what would you call it? Just hang it from the roof, like effectively.
A bar.
A bar. Yeah. But it's like, also like, if you imagine being tied up, you don't want to sort of do it in a way that would jank limbs out of fashion, because it'd be quite painful, and not in a fun pain way, but in like your arm's going to break way if it's leveraging in the wrong sense. You know what I mean? Like, fun pain is fun, but not fun pain is definitely not fun.
Yeah, you don't want that. Some people are into that, and I'm like, oh, you're into some real freaky shit. I
I
respect that.
I find this funny because it's like whatever you're into, right? That's like sort of becomes your norm, and you know that you're outside the regular vanilla norm, but it still is normal for you.
Mhm.
So like someone might look at what your level of what you would just do on a regular sort of session and be like, whoa. But then you look at them and go, yeah, but I don't know about the Palpane situation you got going because that's a bit. We're all freaks in
Yeah,
our own.
like I
We're all
don't know how to
freaks in
feel
our
about
own
that.
way. Okay, so
Like
go on.
autoerotic asphyxiation. Oh, what? I'm sorry.
Ooh. Is that a yes or a no?
We did not do that. We did not do that.
Is that a yes or a no for you? No on the autoerotic asphyxiation. I've heard too many stories about people accidentally killing themselves. Although if you're with someone else, I'm sure there's like they'll keep an eye. I'm not sure. I need to get someone that's into that and practicing it on the podcast maybe, because it's like the what I'm really curious about is the sort of the like the practicalities of things, because like you're getting tied up, right? I want to go into it.
Mm-hmm.
What if you need to pee, for example? Like you're all tied up. You're like, I don't know where you're like, tell me what position you're in. And I'm assuming it's hard to get in and out of these ropes. It takes a while, right? Do you get like picked up and placed on the toilet, or you're like peeing beforehand? Because you did drink water beforehand, remember?
Okay, so I did not need to use the restroom. However, because of the situation, like the position that I was tied up in, and as I was not suspended, because he was the dom, of course, he would most likely guide me to the restroom and probably like help me like do that, but he would probably like look away. But in this case, like in the first time, because this is the first time meeting him in person. However, doing this again, if I needed to use the restroom and now I know him like I know him more. We've gotten to know each other. I'm pretty sure he would mess with me and just look directly at me. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, it's not my fault I have a piss kink. I swear to God, he probably would say something like that.
Well, I feel like he's going to listen to this, and now he'll play it back to you and be like, well, actually, like you've signed up for this one. We've got. Look, if that ever happens, we can have you back on and we can discuss the piss kink situation.
By the way, speaking of which, forget the harmonica.
Oh yes, so you're holding.
I still need to do this.
There was a meme that's going around. It's one of my favorite ones. It's from the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie, and it might be the sequel. And it goes.
Mm-hmm.
How does it go? BDSM, but with a harmonica. Or something like that. What's the meme?
Uh-huh.
I'll try and is that it? Like I feel like it's better. It's better than that. I can't word it good. I'm trying to find it now. But you've actually got a harmonica for that. It's the best thing ever.
I'm really excited because I want to propose that to him, and I'm pretty sure he'd be into it. Can
you just blow one sort of like a good? Just give us a bit of audio on the harmonica there. Oh, here we go. It's BDSM, but instead of a ball gag, we use a harmonica, and then the second frame's spank, and then harmonica noise. I'm imagining that tied. No, you give it a little bit of a longer blow, like a really like sort of.
Okay, so
like a. Okay, so I'm already booking you in for another talk after you've done the piss kink and ball gag harmonica session. Okay, we'll just doesn't matter how long it takes. I'll interview some other people first, but we'll come back and we can call it the harmonica session. The piss, yeah, we'll work it out.
Definitely.
That's awesome. I love it. Would you get it like because it has to be ball gagged? Like it the harmonica becomes the gag, right? So you're like sort of biting over the harmonica.
Yeah.
So it's there, so you can't even talk. You'll be talking around the harmonica, so every word is harmonicanized.
It's gonna be a challenge trying to like keep that in because like.
What would your like ability for like to like say you're coming up on a hard limit if you've got a harmonica? Like, are you going to go like a really high pitch or a really low pitch note? Because you need to be able to like play a tune. Maybe it's like. You got to be able to say like I'm not keen on this anymore.
Let's see. I think I would have to blow on it in like short increments, like twice or three times. So like twice to mean one thing, three times to mean another. So,
like a yes or a no.
Yeah.
Okay. See, look, we're developing harmonica ball gag etiquette right now. This is a whole new thing. Mate,
It's easier, and also it's easier to like have like for me to have in my mouth because like if I have like a ball gag in mine, it's gonna hurt my jaw. My jaw is too small. And that sucks
just get a
because like when
smaller
I go to the
gag.
dentist, I can't hold my mouth open to like wide, and like if I try, like it aches.
What?
Embarrassing.
You need to strengthen your jaw muscles. What have you been doing? Playing the harmonica.
I've been chewing gum. Hold on. I have a lot of gum. It used to be up to here.
That is a massive bag of
Yeah.
gum. Yeah.
Oh yes,
That's
it's when I used to work at this candy store called It's Sugar, and that was a time. Um, this one guy, I think he kind of like uh he was kind of creepy. He was like asking me about these sexual questions, and I'm like, um, and I didn't know at the time that it was like it was just uncertain. But anyways, it
Sorry.
was weird.
Do the sugar shop customer was creeping on you?
Oh no, it was a coworker.
Oh, the coworker. It's so bad when a coworker creeps on you. You don't creep. Just for everyone playing at home, just don't creep on your coworkers. It's not a space that you want to do because look, it'll be fun for a little bit. I wrote a short story based on some past history where I had some fun in a freezer of a fast food restaurant. But like, if it gets awkward, which it will, right? Of course, it's going to get awkward after the fact. Then you're working with this person. It's just it's almost as bad as like sort of talking about a pay pig with your professor, right? We didn't finish that story. We're jumping around stories. That's okay. So hey, let's tie up the paper.
He was totally accepting of that.
Yeah. So he knew what it was.
I think so. He knows a lot. He knows a lot about stuff. And
does he want to be your pay pig?
No, he's a Mormon.
No.
He knows I pole dance. He's really cool. He's like a dad.
Dads might want to be pay pigs. I'm a dad. Like don't go judging.
No, not.
Don't dad shame.
Okay, hold on. You're ruffling my feathers. You're twisting my words. I see what you're doing. Hold on. So I've told him that, and I've told him.
What did you tell him?
I've told him a bunch of different stuff, but not in like the sense where it crosses boundaries, because it's just like, again, it's enough. And him and we know each other well. He knows about like some stuff that I've like been through. He's helped me through that, and I really appreciate it. He's a genuine dad figure.
Dad figure, right?
Like with some. Yeah, nothing else. Although I will admit, because he's never gonna listen, he's never gonna hear this.
Listen. You can't guarantee that, so pick your next words carefully.
I know what to say carefully. I think him and his wife are both very attractive. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So a little bit of unicorn hunting. Hunt me. Okay.
But that's the end of that.
Do you invent little stories about him in your mind, like he's her pay pig, and then they just sort of like
no, that's too weird. Like, I mean that's too weird for me. That is too weird for me. Absolutely not.
Okay, so let's jump back to the experience of being tied up. Can you describe the body position, as in like you said you were tied up? Like, what are we imagining? How were you placed? If
Okay, so there were two different positions,
mm-hmm.
But there's a reason why. Because so I had one of my pole outfits underneath, and it was like a Gale pole wear, but it's the shiny red. It's like a deep red, and I had it underneath just like my regular clothes, shorts, and a crop top, and immediately, we were just, as we were talking, he's like, "Can you stand up for a second?" I'm like, "Sure." So I stand up, right? I stand up. He grabs me by my waist and he pulls me, and I'm like, "Oh!" And immediately I knew, I was like, it's gonna get serious. It is gonna get serious, but I have to stay strong. And so he starts tying me, and my wrists were here because he was showing me first, like with the wrists,
wrists out
making
in
sure
front.
that there's wrists out in front like this.
Yep.
And
I'll
making sure that
describe-
there's enough.
I'll describe it because we don't have audio. We don't have video. It's just audio. So wrists are sort of like just out in front together.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
He made sure that there was enough space because if you do not know what you're doing when you tie someone up, if you make a mistake, that can cause something as serious as permanent nerve damage. So
Ooh, yep.
he
Okay.
made sure that there was enough space. Tying it around, I forgot how it was, but he tied it around like my chest and then went down and it went below. And okay, so it went below my crotch, and that's where he was able to like have like the rest of the rope to control.
So it's sort of
And so
in front, a down and around and up behind.
I think so, yeah,
Yep.
if that makes sense.
Yep.
I have a skeleton, if that makes it easier to just show you how it happened.
So you've just
demonstrate.
swiveled and a full length skeleton behind you has just appeared. No, just continue. Go on.
Yeah.
Why do you have a skeleton
his name
in your
is
room?
Cal CM.
Why is there a skeleton in your room?
Because I like skeletons. It was $120.
fair call.
It was worth every penny.
Is it like
okay.
body realistic? Is it a like are all of the bones and stuff in the right, like exactly the right place, all the little divots? Is it like a study skeleton, or is it just a?
Yeah, it's a study skeleton.
Oh, awesome!
It's
okay.
Yeah.
My wife had when she was studying sort of physiology, myotherapy stuff, she had a full-size skeleton. Mm-hmm. She called it Jake. And then one day when I think we were moving it to and from an office space, we had to put it into the front seat of the car, strapped it in with a seatbelt, and were just driving through town with a skeleton as the passenger.
Excellent. Oh my God. I like your wife already. Not that I didn't before, but I like her even more now.
Oh, she's a pretty cool chick. Go on. Okay, so I'm looking at your skeleton. Please do describe, and I'll do my best to translate for audio.
So, I already told you about like the front and the wrist, but it went to the back, and the rest of the rope came out from here. So he was able to tug it from there, and
tugging you from the crotch. So it's like sort of coming out from your butt forwards, and you can pull you forwards by the crotch, basically.
Exactly. And so I knew immediately in the first tug, I knew I was screwed because he was like, okay, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a test. And I jolted like this. It took me by surprise. And I'm like, nope, that's it. I'm done for. Write my will. I'll give the rest of my insurance policy to my best friend.
Sorry, cut out a touch there. Say that again. You'll give giving over your will and your
my life insurance to my best friend.
Life insurance. Okay, so all right, so now you're being pulled around basically by your crotch. This is both like it's feeling quite good. It's psychologically feeling quite good. Then what happens? You being just led around and just played with? Like, what are we talking?
Yes, exactly. So that was happening. But before he led me around, he kept like tugging, and he was kind of like, doing what doms do when they kind of mess with like the sub's mind, because he's
you got to mess with the sub's mind a little bit, just a little bit, just it's nature, and according to doms, doesn't matter what kind of dom, that's how they are, even the softest of doms. And so as he's tugging, it was part of the conversation. We were just, he's asking me these questions. He's like, you like pizza? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't like pineapple pizza. He's like, what kind of pizza are you? As he's like tugging, he's messing with me, and I'm like, pepperoni. So then he's like dragging me around the house, and he showed me his dogs, and his dogs are so cute. Oh my God. But he tried to like push me down. I'm like, no, please don't. What are you doing? He's like, well, I'm trying to get you to their level. And I'm like, I don't want them licking my face. He said, okay. So he let me stand back up. And that's when he grabs the smaller one, and he's putting it toward my face, and I'm like, no, please don't. He's like, this wasn't the kind of torture you were expecting. And I'm like, I really don't want a dog licking my face. So he put his dog down, but oh my goodness, they're so cute. So then
and this is hours. This whole session went on for hours. So he's like pulling me to in different places, right? Kind of picking me up, dropping me on the couch, picking me up and slamming me against the wall, which I still feel it. um,
I love the
still feel it on my
physical
back.
reaction that you're getting because it's like, ooh, the memories. Ooh.
It's nice.
I can see it.
So
Like, I can hear the niceties.
that was happening also.
Mm.
And this is again toward the beginning, but he sat down and he sat me down next to him, and there was some cuddling while I'm, still tied up, and because because he knows what kind of sub I am, he catered to that immediately. He was like running his fingers through my hair. He was like petting my head, and
when you say what kind of sub you are, can you go into that a little touch?
Right. So I am a service sub.
Service sub?
But I am
I like
also
the lingo.
a
Service sub
little.
and pay pig. Service sub, pay pig. We're learning service sub, pay pig, and little. Yes. Do give the brief summary of these terms if possible, as you see them for yourself, I suppose.
Yeah. So
service sub.
A service sub, that is a submissive who is who gets off on like serving or doing what the dom wants, as long as it's like both consenting, and it also like it makes them both feel good, and doms are usually into that, because there are some doms that are into brats and some that are into prey, which is another type of sub, and I'm kind of that. I'm kind of also like a prey sub.
What's a prey sub?
So that's a part of primal play where the dom is the predator and the sub is the prey, and that can involve like
CNC
wrestling.
Sort of
It
stuff?
gets like really, it gets no. You can involve that, but that's not a part of it.
Okay.
So that's something separate.
Yep.
It can get like rough. It can get like nails and biting and scratching and like growling, all kinds of stuff, and chasing, and that happened. Because we're going around, it's out of order, but this all happened in the same day.
That's fine.
We were in his bedroom, right? And so he unties me. At this point, I'm already in the red outfit, and it comes with like a thigh garter. So he unties me, and he looks at me, and he's tall, so he's looking down at me, and I did not expect him to say the next words that came out of his mouth, but he says, "You have 5 seconds to get out of the house." And I'm like, "What?" And he says, 4, and I bolted, and I was running around and I made sure, and we did this twice. The second time I gave him a real challenge. I made him go around, and I was jumping. I'm a fast runner, mind you. I am really fast. But I wanted to give in, not just because I was into that, but I was like, I don't want to give him too much of a hard time. And so I ran, and I just stopped, and I waited for him at the end of the hallway, and he caught me. And so he's like, "You gave up easily, didn't you?" And I'm like, "I did."
Oh, Dad. So, you caught me. Oh, no. Sorry.
Oh no, what am I gonna do? Oh, I'm in absolute trouble. Someone help me. Nobody come and help me. I don't need anyone's help. There I was. I let myself be caught because
you wanted to be caught. I don't blame you.
Yeah. I very much did.
No, you caught me. Whatever shall I do with this?
Oh no, I'm in danger.
I always have this debate with people online talking about like what is true punishment for a sub, right? Like if the sub likes getting spanked, that's now like pleasure. What do you call it? Punishment? Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you want to punish and correct and sort of go down that path of the dom sub relationship, the punishment actually has to be a like not enjoyable. Otherwise, it's punishment, and then it's just basically you're having sex in a different way. You know what I mean? Like, it's yeah. I don't know. But I sort of get into this debate, and they're like, "No, but it is," and I don't know. Like, I'm looking at like behaviorally.
Well,
you know, like if you want to stop that behavior, you've got to like do something that actually they don't like, right?
yeah. So one of the ways that that can happen is by, from my understanding as a little, is that because there are different types of littles. There's like the good girl little. There's also the
We'll
brat
get into
little.
the
So
discussion.
there's
Can
that
you just go
distinction.
into? Sorry, I'm just keep interrupting you, but like let's define our terms here. A little
Oh,
is
you're good. So a little is someone who is the sub in the dom and sub dynamic, but the dom in this case is the caregiver or daddy or mommy, in that scenario, in that dynamic. And so um, there can be like age play involved, or in the non-sexual sense, there is something called age regression. And what that is that um, age regression is something that helps a person to cope. It is something that a person might deal with from trauma or from other stuff. And it doesn't have to just be from that. There are different reasons as to why. In some cases, from what, for example, someone that I know very well, she told me that there is a little that they know. And when they age regress, they cannot control it.
really.
And I was stunned. Yes, I
That
had
sounds
never
almost
heard something like
like
that.
a split personality or schizophrenia almost. Like it's sort of like if you can't control what your where you're at, what your mental state is, that sort of stuff. It's an interesting play, right?
Yeah, because it's still them, but it's just them as their
I just
younger
want to jump on something you
self.
said. You talked about non-sexually, and that's something that I sort of want to sort of delve into with this podcast as well. Like people that are more vanilla, you sort of
Mhm.
talk about BDSM, and they get this sort of, I don't know, this pop culture 50 Shades of Grey sort of very non-realistic view.
Oh
But like
God,
before, like we can
I hate that
we can
film.
rip on that all we like, and it's almost universally hated. But the thing I sort of suggest to people is that everyone, when you interact with anyone in any relationship, you sort of instantly fall into this dom sub, like listener follow, like leader follower relationship anyway, right? Like typically non-sexually you're hanging out with people, and just look around the group and you'll find that one or two people are sort of in control, and then the rest are sort of following. It's sort of like we sort of sit in these things naturally, and then I feel like sexually it becomes this sort of extension of that. Like tell me if I'm hitting any markers here, but it feels like it's more than just in the bedroom. It feels like it's an interplay in life, and obviously your bedroom dynamics can be different to your in real life dynamics. But I don't know. I think it's more than just like, oh, hey, I'm going to dominate you in the bedroom. You know?
I agree with that for sure because um, you definitely can tell if just by the way that a person engages in conversation, how it is that they handle being in the group. So, for example, you can tell if they're leading, questions to ask are they including others in the conversation? Are they listening carefully? Are they being considerate and understanding what they're talking about? Or like that
Mm,
sort of a
mm.
thing, if that makes sense.
I remember when I was quite young. I say quite young, when I was just 18. There was a group of friends, and I recognised that no one was really making decisions. And I was like a year or two older than the group, just by whatever means. I think I was dating someone. It was her group of friends. But I recognized that if I just sort of stepped up and made decisions, it's like, hey, let's eat here, let's do this thing. And I was like very careful to make sure that like if someone disagreed or wanted to do something different or was sort of like a bit too shy to sort of say it to the group to like sort of go with them. But the whole point was like, let's just move past this decision fatigue and just act, let's do something rather than sort of endlessly debating what to do. And it's sort of like I recognized that people just needed that little bit of a guidance, a little bit of a push, and everyone was happy, because you're obviously making sure you're leading with care and with insight.
Is that when you first knew that you were a dom?
It was in that moment that I recognized I loved the power. look,
Hi, it's me, Zach. You're probably wondering how I got in this situation.
It probably is actually true though. Like that's the thing. It sort of taught me something about group dynamics. So you actually hit the nail on the head. I'll have to think back on that, but I think you're actually correct. It's like in that moment, a new man was born to lead. Okay, so different types of littles. Get it back off me. We're gonna get back. Okay, different types of littles. And you say, yeah.
Okay, so right, there's the good girl little, and then there is the brat. But interestingly enough, hold on, I'm gonna mute myself because I'm about to burp. Okay, sorry.
You didn't want the ASMR burp happening? Is that a thing? Maybe that's a thing. Who knows?
No, I just look. I just didn't want to be cochina, okay? Like, I know this is getting dirty, but I didn't want to get that dirty.
There's different kinds of dirty, and some of them, it's like we said earlier on, it's like, you might like your sort, and I'm sure there's a bunch of people that's like, why, like, don't you dare mute that next burp. Like, you lean into that. You lean into that hard. Like, I'm ready for the burp.
Oh my God. There are some people that actually don't like that, and I'm like,
don't
wow.
or do.
I didn't know that they could dislike that so much.
Don't or do.
Don't
like
what? Just don't.
Burping.
Burp, like the sound of it.
It's not up there in my most. It's not
Like
up
they
there in
can't
my most
stand
favorite sounds. I got to say, like the crunching on the taco sounds a lot more fun than a burp. The burp isn't ranked high in terms of sounds. There's higher sounds than a burp in general.
True.
Feel free to mute any burps you like. Okay, let's go on. Littles.
Right. Interestingly enough, there are different types of ages for littles. So the general range for the age is between 1 and 12, in regards to that sort of play or age regression. So, age regression doesn't necessarily have to like stem from a bad thing. However, there is definitely a distinction in like the age regression itself. So let's say, for example, if I were to age regress, and I see something that I like that reminds me of like my childhood, I'm gonna fall into that little space, and I'm gonna feel like safe. Whereas if I feel like incredibly sad or I feel unsafe, I will fall into that little space. And I have like my plushies and my stuffies, and I hold on to that just to like feel a sense of like grounding again.
That makes sense. I mean, it's sort of I think everyone sort of has that regression sort of feeling, but it sort of can become named once a sort of a collection of behaviors are all sort of grouped together. I sort of wonder how much of what people do, both like BDSM wise, sex wise, but just in general, it's sort of, we clump stuff together and go, oh, this is this thing. Like, you're now a little, you're now a dom, you're now a this, but they're just labels for just personality traits almost. You know what I mean? I'm not sure, but they are useful because it enables us to chat and talk and go into certain things. So, so if we bring it back to your story, to your Shibari experience, maybe we can we can tie it out and hopefully move beyond the atrocious technical problems we've been having.
Let's see. So there was the chase. I got caught. Yeah, he was like he was picking me up, and like he picked me up effortlessly like a princess, and I was like, "Oh, I'm thoroughly enjoying this."
Yes.
I feel so small. And so he told me, he's like, I've never picked up someone as light as you. And I was like,
oh, stop.
Thank you. It's like, I know I'm tiny, but damn.
Okay. I like that. So you said you got tied up twice.
Mhm.
So
So
you
the second time,
you get released, you get chased, you get caught. That's fun.
that was during the second time
Oh, okay.
because he had to tie me back up again. So I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. But the first time he was just like, testing it out, and I was like, wait, before we move forward, this isn't. I wasn't expecting to get tied up with what I have right now. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I said, check underneath my shirt. So he pulled it up and he looked, and he's like, oh. Like, he's very much interested. So he untied me and I took it off. And the reason why I bring it back to this is because, it's to give it context. But in the DMs we were talking, and he wanted me to give him a lap dance, and I'm like, "Are you asking?" And he said, "No, I'm demanding." And I was like, "There it is."
So maybe you can go into this one. There's a lot of like memes and stuff about the dom voice, or like the like fake doms versus real doms, and you mentioned the DMs, and like I see this so many times, like people wanting to be dominated, or people complaining about fake doms, and then like the real versus the fake, and maybe you can elaborate what you want, what you expect, or how someone is legit versus some warning signs, particularly with online, because I tell you what, people assume like that I am a chick online a lot of the time. Like I just had a guy messaging me today being like, am I talking to a madam? I'm like, no, sorry, buddy, I am a bloke, but it gets a bit dicey in the DMs, we'll put it that way. Lots of eggplants.
Oh. Oh no.
So
I'm so sorry for you.
Oh, look, I'm sorry. Like I feel for the people who put their gender and a picture of themselves and sort of talk in this space, because it becomes quite a it's disgusting, frankly, a lot of the time. So what are we expecting on the positive side of things? How do you know you're with someone legit? How can we play safely from your experience, obviously?
So, the ways that you can tell that a person is in the dom sense, that they are a real dom versus a fake dom, is that they respect your boundaries.
Safe words are a thing, hey?
Yes, safe words definitely. They communicate. They check to see that you are like comfortable, or that you're comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yep. What your limits are.
Right. And I mean, that's pretty much the groundwork, like the basis of that, and aftercare. If a person says that they're a dom, but they say, "Oh, we're not doing aftercare," that is not a dom. And like there are people that will claim that they're a dom or that they want to do that, but in actuality, all they want to do is hurt people. It's nothing, with the whole BDSM, they just want to hurt people, and that can be scary. So you just talk with the person that says that they're a dom, and if there are any of those red flags, even one, just do not go for it. Don't trust them.
I cannot agree more. I think the idea of aftercare is obviously it's different for each person and each situation, each scene, whatever you're doing, but it's about bringing both people back to normality. I think, like, as in back to like a state of like calm. I don't know, how would you describe it? Like coming back down, I suppose, after the high of the experience.
Mm-hmm. Because there can be a sub drop, and there can even be a dom drop, and doms also, subs and doms both need that aftercare.
100%. And once again, I think it's not necessarily even just a sub dom thing. I mean, if you have sex with someone, you want to make sure that you're both okay afterwards, like it's not like it's an unheard of thing. It's like, oh, hey, we're just going to pump and dump, or like, what was it? Smash and dash. I just heard the term. I've never heard it either. It blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I'm writing this down, putting it in a story. Pump and dump, smash and dash. But like seriously, like
I don't even think about that when I go to bed.
Smash and dash.
Smash and dash.
I'll write a poem or a short story about it. Smash and dash.
Please do.
But like, okay, so we're avoiding the red flags. Like, can you highlight any red flags that you'll see? Because I can give you a couple that I see entering my DMs unknowingly, or just what people have told me. Like,
let's see. The unsolicited dick pics.
Oh, look, unsolicited. See, like, yeah, unsolicited dick pics. But like, I tell you what, it comes the other way as well. It's not just dick pics. It's chicks sending all of their bits. I've had people just straight up messaging me with like explicit shit, and it's like, I appreciate it visually, but it's like I wasn't expecting to be put into that mood. Like, I don't watch porn, right? I will accept pictures of people, whatever, but that's a different sort of space, because I'm sort of choosing, it's an engagement, it's a relationship, it's a play thing, right? Whereas if you just send it to me, it's like, hey, here's my stuff. That's not it's not the right context. It's not the right mood, you know? Yeah, it's a weird space, because it happens. It's not just the dick pics; it goes both ways, and some people are a bit surprised to hear that, I suppose.
True. Or if they slide into your DMs, or if they message you, or even approach you in person, and they call you by a suffix that you're like, whoa, I didn't give you the right, I didn't give you the consent to call me that. And if they continue to pursue after you tell them no,
yep,
gross.
So it's like, by a suffix you mean like slave, or my kitten, or like some sort of like ownership title, that they'll just be like, hey, like, yeah, okay. I'm giggling just because I've had people enter my DMs and just start on that straight away, guys and girls. Like, I had one chick be like, hey, you're going to be my sub slave, you know. She didn't use the word pay pig, but she may as well have. And it's like, no, I'm going to not be that thing for you, but thank you for the offer. I'm gonna kindly refuse. Okay, so let's get back to these questions. So this whole discussion of this scene started with the question of, have you ever fulfilled a true fantasy, and was it all you expected? So can we just like tie this in a loop, because what you experienced versus what you expected. Obviously, it sounds like, you know, with the chasing and with some of the other things, it sounds like you had a really fun time, and it was sort of what you expected, but in a different way, if that makes sense, or the way the fantasy was fulfilled seemed to be good, but not as you thought it would be. Am I hitting the mark, or can you elaborate a bit, maybe?
Well, it definitely it was as good as I expected it. Because sometimes you can have a chase, you can have hide and seek, or you can have both, and I like both. But
hide and seek.
In this case,
nice.
Yeah, because when they find you, things get good. Anyways, so I I really did enjoy it a whole lot. Getting tied up was very fun, and I enjoy it. The only thing is that it's just I want to explore more different types of positions, because at some point, because for the most part I was comfortable, but of course, like, there is the natural discomfort from being in like that position for so long, because at one point, you know, I was on my belly, and I did not feel this at the time until hours later, after it was done and I came home. I had a welt. I had this welt on my arm. And I was like, where did that come from? And then when I figured it out, I was like, oh.
Did you cover it up, or did you wear it with a bit of pride?
I wore it. It was there, and I do again, I pole dance, so I've had worse welts. Like, the ones on my legs would be way more painful than that.
Pole dance chicks get covered in bruises, like all up the shins, right? And inner thighs.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
And the thighs, on the legs, and the arms, like your shoulders.
Just a pole dancing injury. Nothing sus. Nothing sus. You're all good.
Mm-mm.
So I want to ask you, like, you could just go and have vanilla sex, right? You could just go and have, rougher sex. What does
Mm.
the act of adding the rope play, adding the chase, adding the hide and seek, what is it? Could you sort of put it down to like a foreplay thing in a sense? Like it builds up the excitement. Like what do you get from adding that to vanilla sex, if that makes sense?
It definitely can. You can have that for foreplay. You can have that for foreplay and the actual act, or you can have that for the specific act after the foreplay. So it's about um, variety. So I guess the best way to describe it, because as an artist, you have these different hues, right? You can mix as many as you want. You're gonna get all these different beautiful varieties and shades and tints and
That's
tones,
beautiful. Yeah.
and all of that is wonderful. So that's the best way that I can describe it. And someone else said that sex is like ice cream. You can have vanilla, and vanilla is good. You can add other flavors of ice cream. You can add whatever toppings you want, and you can add all these different combinations and variations. And that's the great thing about it. But you have to make sure that the person is interested in having ice cream.
Well,
If they want that ice cream, great.
yeah,
If they
yeah.
don't give it to them.
That you make sure that the flavor is something that they enjoy eating. It's
Hmm.
almost like you're describing art, like sex or like this sort of play as a form of like transient art, like it's happening as it's being created. It's almost like performance art between two people with the different flavors and different
Hmm.
roles and the different sort of experiences that you can get into.
Hmm.
Sounds a lot more.
That's why some people.
Go on.
That's why some people are into filming.
That's a different form of art. That's not what I was going for. But look, hey,
Oh, okay.
no.
Hey, I mean, you can mix different medias of art.
True. No. I meant it more like going with the analogy of like the hues and the colors. It's sort of like you're just
Hmm.
playing with different aspects of like life as art, sex as art. Not about
Hmm.
filming. Nothing wrong with filming, of course, but that's a different sort of art, and you can definitely play with all of those things. I would love to chat with you again at some stage, but before we sort of pull this to a close, and I do my best to wrangle the chopped and changed tech issues of this first discussion, because like we said at the start, it's my first time. It's the first time of this podcast, so we're going to have some awkward things. I'm sure I'll get into some
Hmm.
first time discussions with people, but it's as awkward as a high five, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And I still have to hold on. I still have to talk about
Please do.
because again, this the session was since it was ours, a lot had happened, and so there's still like the lap dance that I need
Oh,
to
the lap
discuss, and the
dance,
fact
yes.
that I twerked on him.
Oh, okay. Look,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. I definitely want to hear about the lap dance twerking. Go for it.
Okay, so
do
because
you give
he
lap
demanded
dances?
it,
Do you give lap dances often, or is it just was the demand caused the act?
the demand caused the act. This
Perfect.
was my first lap
Perfect.
dance,
Okay.
and it was pretty okay, but
if you do say so,
yeah,
did a pretty okay job. I just
yeah, I twerked on him and
Boom.
and everything, and it was pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was feeling myself up and everything, and I sat in his lap, and he was into it. I had him. I was like
Boom.
a spider,
do you
except he was a bigger spider, and I was caught in his web instead.
did the pole dancing help with the twerking? Is there twerking in your pole dancing, or is that not a yeah?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. So we have twerk classes, we have
Oh,
twerk workshops, and they're all super
workshops.
fun. So I know how to
Workshops.
twerk in multiple ways. I can twerk upside down.
Yep, I can see that. Yep. Cool. Okay. You're like just sit down for a second. I'm going to give you workshop quality twerking right now. Okay. So you're
Pretty much.
upside down twerking. I get it. Go on.
Hmm. Oh no, I
I
didn't
know.
upside down twerk in front of him. No. So my back was facing him and he was sitting down, of course, like legs spread and everything. But it was like the classic, like the side and then moving down to like the classic twerk position. And then I turned around and I put I was like feeling him up also, so I had one of my legs, I put it up right next to him, and I kind of just like sensually like touched my leg from like the bottom and dragging it back to the top and everything, um, and grinded against him and kind of like swiveled my chest around. I was like a snake. I was like a sneaky snake.
Sneaky, sexy,
And
sensual snake.
yes. It's like Ka when he was like hypnotizing Bagheera. Look me in my eyes when I'm talking to you. You have just sealed your doom.
Is that what's that? A Jungle Book reference? I love it.
Yes.
Okay. So your leg.
He's my favorite character.
I've got to say I'm not a fan of the Jungle Book. I think it's overrated. The fact that it's inspired a lap dance has upped its relative
It
standings.
didn't inspire a lap dance. Hold on a second. Wait a second. You're getting a little too ahead of yourself there, pal.
Okay, go on.
It
Correct
did
me.
not inspire that. It's just my description, my way of description. Okay, one of my majors is in English.
You were channeling the snake energy.
I was.
Go on, do continue. I keep interrupting your sexy snake story.
No, you're good. Oh, okay. At one point, because there was music, he decided to like play music and like blast it, but it was like really hot music. So I was twerking on him to the song Thought by Tokyo's Revenge. And the beginning of the song literally starts with all women are queens. If she breathes, she's a thought. And then but the rest of the song is a banger. And then it went into
what's the name of that?
Retaliation
What's the name of
and
that
stuff
song
like
again? Sorry, say that again.
It's called a Thought.
Thought.
THOT, but exclamation mark.
Ooh, okay. By Tokyo's Revenge. I have found it. I will listen to that after this. Yes.
Yes. Oh my God. I want to do a routine to that song so bad. I want to pole dance to that song so bad.
You should. I think you should. It sounds like it's a very sensual song.
Essentially, yeah, sure. Very chaotic,
Yeah.
and that's part of what I am. I'm very chaotic at times, but this man, he like had me pinned against the door right next to the bathroom, and this is when he started to like slip his hand down into like my pole shorts,
Ooh.
and as he's searching for the song, he's like, "Oh, you shaved for me," and I was like, "Oh God, I forgot that I did," and I went, "Yes."
Was he pleased with your offering?
He was.
Oh, that's good. You did well.
And but then there's something that he did, and it messed with me. It messed with me. I mean, I was into it, but don't get me wrong. But I told him how much I had a big crush on Kali Uchis and how much I love her music. So just that woman is a goddess. And so while he was like, pleasuring me, I'm blushing. He played one of her music videos and he left it there. So I was forced to watch it while he was doing that to me. But it was to La Luz. And I was like, oh my God, this is getting too much. Because
Go on.
I'm so sorry.
No, I just like the association. He's like, oh, that's your favorite song? Yeah, like associate that with me now. It's my song.
Yeah, and so now I think of him when I listen to it because
he's in more than your DMs now. It's like into your brain space.
He kind of is at times. I'm not gonna lie.
Boom.
In the music video, like it's intoxicating.
Yeah.
Because here she is, like just being herself. She's with her girlfriends, and then she's on a date with this other woman, and she's also hot. And then they're in this hotel room, and they're just like getting freaky. And then the featured artist is also in the music video, and so when it's his verse, he's looking through this peephole into their room, and I'm like, okay, hold on. I need an inhaler. I don't have asthma, but I need an inhaler.
What's the name of this song? I'll watch this video clip afterwards as well. Can you say the name of the song again?
I believe it's called La Luz. So it's LA space LUZ.
La Luz. Yes. Okay.
He means the light.
I will find this and
And she's basically like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
I
I was just saying I'll find it and have a little experiment with this song as well.
Oh God. She's basically saying in Spanish, like we're gonna turn the lights off and we're gonna do everything in the dark. And I'm like, oh my God.
Okay, I want to.
I just want to. I'm sorry. I don't mean to simp too hard for this woman, but she does something to me. She kicked a man in a music video, and I wanted her to kick me in the exact same way.
Yes. So no, it's okay to simp over. It's okay to simp over symbols and stars and sensuality. What I wanted to ask is have you had much vanilla experience, just or like with people that aren't, like what you're describing, this experience with your dom is obviously, the shibari, the chasing, the hide and seek, all of that sort of stuff. It sounds quite fun, in fact. Mm-hmm. But have you had a comparison, or have you played with? You obviously don't have to, name and shame or even go into it. But have you related to a more vanilla experiences, and would you say that it's different, that you prefer one over the other, or that you're right down the BDSM sort of path? Like, can you vibe off that in some perspective, maybe?
Well, the most vanilla experiences that I've had was with my recent ex, because that's what he was. He told me, I'm into trying anything, and I don't mind. But then it turned out, like he just straight up didn't like those things, and he was only vanilla, and that was kind of hard for me, because I almost, and I'm not saying this as like I have anything against him. I'm saying this in the sense that this could have been harmful to me. Like I could have harmed myself if I did this. I almost settled with just staying in the relationship with him, despite the fact that we were different sexually. And that was one of the reasons why we broke up. We had differences, and I won't get into that, but I don't mind it at all. I do like it. I also just happen to really like BDSM stuff and kinks, and I like that. I like both, but I can't have one without the other.
No, fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. You've got to be compatible in as many ways as possible if you want an ongoing relationship to work. And if you've tried and it's just not banging, well, what can you do, right?
Was that a pun?
Yes, intended. Pun intended, totally, yes.
Sure. I saw. Okay. All right. Okay, bud.
Listen, I need to be firm, and continue the thrust of this
Dang
podcast
no.
ever on before we choke on another technical issue while my computer brings a brat. Because
stop! You're gonna make me gag.
I think we're reaching the end of the limit of this episode, because we've gone quite deep, and we've been quite thorough. We've really grounded it out, and we've had a long conversation. I hope that you're satisfied.
Zachary!
Perhaps we can do this again and have multiple experiences. Was that a good enough pun experience? We'll have to erect another go at this one. What do you think? Penetrate the minds of the listeners.
Hey, that is not fair. I did not come prepared.
You didn't come prepared. I get you. Look, was that a bit too sucky, hey?
Yes, that was intentional. Very intentional.
You really did pull it off.
Well, since you decided to touch on that subject.
You can perhaps
sometimes when it comes to puns, I just have to firmly grasp it in my hands.
Yes, you actually inspired the a poem that I'm going to put into my next book, Kink Volume 2, Punishment. Should I read it to you? I've finalized it. Okay, so I'm playing on this, and I've literally got it in front of me as my cheat sheet to beat you in puns, because we had a bit of a pun war, and that was quite fun. So I'll read you the poem Punishment. And it's pun-ishment. Anyway, and then we'll maybe we'll sign off, and we can definitely do this again at some stage. And if this poem inspires any last remarks, we can definitely go into that as well. Anyway, sounds good? Okay.
Yeah.
Punishment. It's hard to write erotica. The words don't always come easily. In order to rise to the occasion, I have to pull off the impossible, sucking readers in by teasing out their arousal and penetrating their minds. With just my fingers, a page and a pen, I'm to erect a compelling story that will take them on a ride they'll never forget. The plot must be firm and thrust ever forward towards its mind-altering climax, all without making a tit of myself in the process and blowing it. Sometimes I get a bit anal, choking on a bratty sentence here and there, but most of the time it's a pleasure. I love pinning an idea down, confining it to the page, exploring its limits, whipping it into shape, dressing it up, and then exposing it to the world. I like to go deep. I like to be thorough. I like to really grind it out. Thus, my writing sessions are long, but ultimately, my readers are satisfied, often multiple times. So tell me, dear reader, was that enough punishment for today? So thank you so much for the inspiration for that, because like
Oh God. I'm not gonna lie. Wait, I have a pun.
Okay,
I have a pun. You know, when I first started telling you these sort of not safe for work puns, I was kind of afraid you were gonna be a bit too pussy to retaliate.
And how did we resolve the pun war? Can we just tell the listeners at home the resolution of how that conflict stands?
Okay, so technically this war is not over. The battle, he won the battle, but the war is not over, because I did say, all right, you won this round, but I will be back. And then I sunk back into the swamps like the weird Loch Ness creature that I am.
Well, I'll tell you what. How about we can potentially, once you've done the harmonica ball gag and have got some more puns to play with again, we can come back and do this another time. What do you think?
For sure. I will say one more thing,
please.
And then that'll be the last thing.
All right.
There's been this thing that he has been wanting to do, and I'm not looking forward to it, because as a good girl, I'm like, what did I do to deserve this? And he's like, nothing. I just like punishing you. And I'm like, okay. So he plans on doing this. He plans on tying me up, sitting me down on the couch next to him. And he knows I love the show Golden Girls. And so he's going to put Golden Girls on, and he's going to roast it and talk shit about it for absolutely no reason. And he knows that I don't like that.
Are you going to be gagged so you can't retaliate? Or are you able to like talk back?
I hope not. Hope not.
I like it on two aspects, because he's letting you know what's coming. Yeah. He's letting you know what's coming, and just so you can sort of stew in the wait period, right? I like that. I like this guy. He's got a good plan, and I'm very happy with this. So we can chat about the Golden Girls demeaning sesh. He's maybe it's like a do you know how some people have the kink of being humiliated? Is like a humiliation kick. Is there a I suppose the opposite would go where you've got a kink to desire humiliating. So it's like this vicarious humiliation kink.
Yeah, he's gonna definitely get off on seeing me very upset. Like, and I'm not looking forward to it, because it's like, bitch, do not talk about Betty White. Keep Betty White's name out of your mouth.
Your motherfucking mouth. I love it. I saw a meme of that one. It's the moment everyone saw a meme getting created. That's just the slap. It's just
Oh my God, yes, that was so ridiculous, that whole thing.
And the pushback, and everyone's like, no, it was justified. No, it wasn't justified. Just let's not just slap people without consent. Like,
yeah.
If you're into it, slap away. We are getting...
I forgot. He left a bruise on my arm when he bit me yesterday.
Ooh.
Or no, not yesterday, the day before.
Now, was he the one? Was he telling you that you could wear it with pride and sort of tell people? Like he wants people to know, like, I put that mark there.
Yes, but that was okay. That's different. That's going to be for the next one. But this is a different bruise. So he yeah, he decided to like he rolled my sleeve up and we were in the car. We were in his car and he bit my arm and it felt really good. I never thought that I would get like a sexual pleasure from that. Genuinely. I did not expect that. I was like, this is new.
How so it was hard enough to bruise, so that's pretty hard.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But I dig it.
Yeah, no, fair. What so it just sort of came, you weren't expecting the pain response to be so pleasurable.
Yeah, especially like on that area of my body because it for the arm it's not as expected as like the thighs or the legs or the ass cheek.
It's not the
but
most erogenous zone. You're not like, hey, like stroke my arm for a second here. It gets me off.
Yeah, but like when he bit it, I'm like, well, this is a new erogenous zone then.
Discovering erogenous zones. Where is it? An inch below the elbow.
Right on the back of the neck. You just got to bite it right there.
so this actually is actually interesting to me. It's funny because like what you're into and what you want is ever evolving, right? So now you've had this experience with the Shibari, with the bite, like just if we just take the bite as like a microcosm, now you've got this whole new realm of pain pleasure play to explore. You know, like how hard do you want it? Is it just biting? Will you go into, you know, like whips or spankings or all of that sort of stuff? It's like, it's interesting to see.
Oh, I'm definitely into spanking. I'm so into that. He did that and I was quite satisfied.
So are you going to play with more biting in the future? I suppose it's this,
Absolutely.
only if he wants to play with the biting. Hey.
Oh no, he likes biting me. He doesn't like being bit, and I don't really like biting as much. I like being bit, so that works perfectly, honestly.
Well, it's a good match. It's like the person has to like the pickle and not like the pickle at the burger joint. One person eats it, the other person gives it.
Not the meme.
Okay. Before we sign off, it sounds like you're a sucker for a well done dom voice. You know, the command. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, that gets me because I have a voice kink.
Ooh, a voice kink. I get told like I'll put my content out, and people are like, "I've just the biggest thing that blew me away about getting into this space was everyone messaging me like, you have such a good voice. Your voice is amazing, Zach." And I'm like, it's just my voice. Thank you. This is just how I talk. It's just me. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I played the intro to this to the Kinky Conversations podcast to my wife, and she's like, "You really do have a good voice." And I'm like, "You've heard me for years. Like, this is me." And she's like, "I know, but just hearing it played back, it's all like, are you putting on a voice?" And I'm like, "No, like this is just me." Like, she's like,
"Your wife is trying to tell you something, Zach."
She's just fucking used to it. I'm like, "This is how I talk to you all the time." Like, I'm like, "You get to hear this voice all day, every day." You've become desensitized to my hot voice, I guess. So you've got a bit of a voice kink. You like the voice. Can you do your best?
Yes. Oh my God.
To sign off, can you give your best dom voice attempt? Like a voice that you would have to be to like instant. You're on the floor doing exactly what you're told.
Let me see. I have to put my Vizzy down for this.
Ooh.
What should I say? Like, is there a specific phrase? Because I feel like that would make it easier.
What phrase? Well, what phrase has been used on you? No, I got it. What was it? Leave the house. Okay. What were you told to do? Get out of the house now.
Oh yeah. Okay.
How was that? How was that best said to get you to respond?
Okay, I'm gonna put my own spin on it.
All right. Well, you gotta like, you know, adapt to the art form.
Yeah. You want to be a good boy for me? You have 5 seconds to leave the house. 5, 4.
Oh, I gotta run.
3.
Well,
did it work?
Yeah. Look, I'm about to run. That's you did a very good job. I think you can play both. I think you've got more switch in you than you might imagine. Or at least you can.
I have to hide my my power level.
Or is it just the sub acting dom? We had a chat about that, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm more of a sub acting dom because like I don't mind it. I really don't, but I'm more of a sub.
Yeah, Well, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful having you on the podcast, despite all of the technical issues. Hopefully, we can do this again after you've played with the harmonica and done a bit more biting and some other fun. The what was the show again? The Golden Girls.
Oh, Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Same
Sesh. Okay, after you've done the Golden Girls shame sesh, and after you've
shame sesh.
After you've done the Golden Girls shame sesh, and after you've done the harmonica gag, we can have another chat and deconstruct those experiences. What do you think?
Definitely, and I will talk more about the same session, the one that went on for hours, because more has still happened.
Okay, we'll definitely need another sit down and play on this one, and maybe by then you'll have some puns to come back at me, because right now, like you said, I've won the battle, and if you don't come back at with me, maybe with your own punishment poem, I feel like that's a concession and I win, right?
Don't get too cocky.
You'll use the voice again on me.
I will. Don't make me.
No worries. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's been good. It's been It's been hard.
A real pleasure.
A real pleasure. I feel a lot's have been exposed, and I'm quite satisfied with how we went.
Hey.
All right. Cheers. Have a good one. Hi everyone, thanks for listening to the first episode of the Kinky Conversations podcast, and a super special thank you to Anita for being such a good sport with all of the issues that we had during recording. I guess like every first experience, it never goes without drama, but at least we have a bit of a story to tell. So thank you so much once again, and I am certainly looking forward to having you back on the podcast if you want to join for another go through. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, or you'd like to become a sponsor for the podcast, check out the show notes, and you'll be able to find my email. Shoot me an email, let me know who you are and what you can bring to the podcast, and we'll have a discussion and get you on board. And if you want to support the podcast, there's a couple of ways you can do it. The best thing you can do is rate and review. Just wherever you're listening to this, give it the rate, give it the review, write a little bit about it, and tell people. Spread the word. The second way you can support the podcast is by becoming a Patreon. Check that out if you want to give a little back, if you enjoyed this, if you want some extra bonuses. Click the Patreon link, sign up. That'd be a massive help. And the third way you can support the podcast is by grabbing a copy of my book, Kink Volume 1. It's a collection of BDSM and kink-inspired short fiction and poetry. I'm just going to read you a little bit of the blurb, and you can find links to it and everything else in the show notes. Kink is erotica at its finest. An exploration of sexuality, relationships, and desire, blended with sharp social commentary on the nature of romantic connections in the modern world. It will engage all of your senses. You'll find yourself both fantasizing and contemplating the various kinds of debauchery found within. No matter what your kink, this book has something for you. So once again, thanks for joining in, thanks for becoming a part of the Kinky community, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Have a great day.